I'm Lincoln Kennedy, and this is The Skinny.
From the Fatheadz Eyewear Studios in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny, brought to you by Toyota, Rhino Classifieds, General Tire, and Dream Giveaway. This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Toyota.
Hi, I'm Rico Elmore, and this is The Skinny. We are joined today by not only a great friend, but a longtime customer of Fatheadz, if you will. So, Lincoln Kennedy, how are you?
Wonderful, Rico. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm good. I got to witness your Raiders take advantage of our poor play calling.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised at the outcome of the game as well. So you're not the only one, and I cover them all season long.
It's kind of like they must have known that I bet on it. That's the only thing I can really tell must have taken place here.
I was surprised that the line went up even when they announced Carson Wentz was coming back. So, being around Vegas and of course, my partner on the radio, Brent Musburger, is always around gambling. To throw a little shillings down, I was surprised that the line went up the way it did.
Yeah, 8.5.
Wow.
8.5 was the spread, and what was it, 45 or 46.5 on the over.
Wow.
So I took the Colts and the under.
And the under. And well, look, you would have, if they would have won, it would have been different. But that 8.5 is a pretty big number. That's a huge number.
Yeah. So I thought that they would cover it with Wentz coming back, and just was looking at it, but no,
it rusty, didn't he? There were some errant throws. There was a couple times I thought that if he would, definitely if he made those completions, it would change the outcome of the game. But I was surprised that the Raiders defense held them down and controlled them as much as they did, because they've had issues with their COVID as well as injuries as well. To the secondary was depleted, but I was really surprised at the way they played.
Yeah. So, but no, it was a great day. Had a lot of fun, a lot of people in, and all of that. So, we talked a little bit about your businesses that you got going now. Tell us about the restaurant, the one in Vegas.
Yeah, just opened up a restaurant and part of a franchise called the Angry Crab Shack, which is Cajun seafood boils. And we've got a number of restaurants in Phoenix. I own one in Phoenix, just sold my interest to another one in Phoenix, but then opened up one in Vegas in a suburb called Henderson. And if you're familiar with Vegas, it's off of Sunset in Green Valley. And it's not too far away from the airport. It's been doing well. I really thought when my partners last year, when COVID really struck, I really thought that we were going to have the hardest time of staying open. And the issues that we've had is that, and I realized to my surprise, that people are still eating out. They're just taking out. They're not necessarily going out. They're just taking out, And so I thought there was going to be a dip in our profits or whatever it was, and it really didn't take too big of a hit because we charge market prices for our seafood, so it is what it is. But people were still ordering out, so it was doing all right. Unfortunately, for my other business, my cigar business had to take a back seat. COVID really hurt our supply chain. My filler tobacco comes out of Colombia, and due to the volatility that they had in South America with Venezuela and Colombia, it just became way more expensive than it was to produce my cigars. So I don't know. We'll have to see how the world returns to normalcy, or what is normal post-COVID. If I'll be able to get back into it, or just might have to create some new blends, and I'm not there yet.
Right. Well, I definitely got to enjoy a few of them, so
Thank you, brother.
It was nice. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed that. So it's interesting how it's taken effect on everything, and our eyewear business. You don't have many people that want to go to the doctor.
Right.
They don't. They're still being. Listen, is it real? It's completely real.
Certainly.
But it's also real manageable. And I just wish we could all get back on the same page and move forward.
I agree.
I really do.
I totally agree.
Because it's hurt a lot of people in a lot of businesses, and we were fortunate enough to work through that with PPE and some things like that. But move forward and keep things going. So, it's a little bit of a different thing here with us today. one, Stout's not with us, which we don't know if that's good or bad, but
It's good.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We've heard from the gallery. It gets us good.
But the other is, usually we're talking racing nonstop. Have you got any racing industry?
No, I mean,
interest?
well, I mean, not I have interest because you're a good friend of mine and you're into racing. And remember, a couple years back when the last time I think we were here, we were talking about going to the speedway and watching a race and really looking forward to it. And then COVID struck and threw a crimp in all those plans. But I'm still interested. I remember very early in my broadcasting career when I was with Fox Sports Radio, they sent me to cover a NASCAR race out in Fontana. And I had no idea about NASCAR. That was the first time I was exposed to the inner circle, the constant smell of gas, and the roar of the engines and going around the track. And so I was pleasantly surprised. And I still to this day don't really know much about it because my interests haven't been involved with other places. But certainly I'm a sports fan, so I love the excitement. I love anything that it brings people together and they get to enjoy. I mean, it's popular. I mean, the numbers say it. It's very popular. The racing from NASCAR to IndyCar, all of it and stuff like that. And I think some of the coolest racing that I've watched on TV were the road courses.
Oh, yeah.
I really like those. Those are awesome. Like when you're traveling through the streets and stuff like that. So I really got into those. But again, I don't know enough about the drivers or the stuff like that to really follow it to say that I have a true interest, to be honest.
So we'll be in Phoenix at Firebird is it February? Yeah, February. It's the second race out for the NHRA.
We gotta let me
I'd
know.
like for you guys to come
Absolutely,
out. Yeah,
absolutely. Just let me know. That'd be awesome.
We've got earplugs there. You'll want those. You'll need
Certainly.
those. So it's a unbelievable cool deal. So, but yeah, we're involved in many different facets of it and different things. And
Did I hear correctly? One of your drivers just won a race? One of your sponsor drivers?
so Brady Bacon just won the USAC championship.
Oh, nice.
3 years in a row now,
Oh, wow.
I believe. Yeah, 3
That's
years
awesome.
in a row, and which is an amazing feat.
Yeah.
It's the Cowboys of the Cowboys.
Is that right?
They're unbelievable how good they are and so we've got that and
that's great.
and a few other key components that we're involved with and things like that. So it's nice to be able to watch. It's nice to be able to watch the people that you've been with for a long time. Brady's been with us 13 years, 14 years, something like that.
That's cool.
And so it's really cool to have that side of it and watch the success and grow with them. And we've tried to do that with several people, but some it's worked with and some it hasn't. So, but we're definitely looking at the up and coming stars. That's kind of where it's at,
Nice.
and to kind of grow with them as well. So
Cool.
pretty good time. So what else have you got going on? How's the announcing or the radio world?
Yeah, I call the games for the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, along with Brent Musburger. So we still got the rest of the season. Big one coming up next week, and matter of fact, Brent has not texted me yet, but we were seeing if the game was going to be flexed against the Chargers. The Raiders' final game is against the Chargers. Both of them need to win to get into playoffs. So, so it's an important game, and the NBC has the ability to flex a schedule. So it's a playoff atmosphere game. Brent feels that they're going to probably flex it to get that game Sunday night. So, but it's been going well. I also do college football. I color commentate for the Pac-12 network, and so-called, I think it was 11 college football games this season. That with being a single dad of 3 teenagers keeps me full, keeps me busy.
Right. Is Anthony Beck still doing that?
Anthony Beck, I think, moved on to another network. If I'm not mistaken, I know you're referring to, but he was. I don't know if he's still there with the Pac-12.
I guess his kid is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Football kid.
Nice.
So I keep in touch with him from time to time, but I knew that he was doing that for a while, and then So how's your Huskies, right?
Huskies, yeah, Washington. They didn't have. They got a new coach. They just hired Kalen DeBoer out of Fresno State to go up to the program and try to take over. Didn't have a good year last year. It was a little bit of a down year. Again, just coming out of post-COVID, a lot of things. The transfer portal, college football is really the climate of college football has really changed with the transfer portal and the coaches jumping ship. It really has changed. There's really no true direction, in my opinion, other than the ones that have maintained stability, like the ones that will be playing here next week in the national championship.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And programs are trying to get to that pillar of stability any way they can. And so it's really in the process. You leave your heads, you have scratching your head trying to figure out what these guys are doing and what these universities are doing. So I kind of keep a distance from it as an alumni and from afar. And I'm involved in a few committees where they're trying to right the ship when it comes to the conference and the things out west. But it was a little bit of a down year, and then I'm glad that college football is over because it really exhausts me. So I'm looking forward to some vacation time when I can go do one of my favorite hobbies, which is scuba diving. So I go around the world do that.
Right on. All right, give us a minute and we'll come back.
This segment of The Skinny has been brought to you by General Tire. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud-terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today.
This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Rhino Classifieds. Tired of all those ads and random stuff that shows up when you're looking to buy or sell your car parts? Rhino Classifieds was created just for you. Welcome to a streamlined buying and selling app created by racers for racers and race fans. Modified cars, classic cars, race cars, that special big block you need, the trailer to move your baby around the country in. We got you at rhino.co.
All right, welcome back. So, Lincoln, you were talking about scuba diving.
Yeah.
So, where at?
Well, I go various places around the world. Last season, I should say, because I've tried to position myself to work for 6 months and have 6 months off.
Right.
So,
I like
in the
that.
early part of the season, I went to sort of a Caribbean tour. Went to Cozumel, Belize, off the coast of Cancun, and then also went to Hawaii. So that was the part of my circuit last year, and I'm probably going to do. I haven't planned it yet because I got to wait to see when the NFL season is over for me. But the thing is want to plan some more dives, some more trips.
Never done it.
Never?
Never.
What do you do? Well, I mean, you got race car driving, I'm sure, but is a hobby of yours. But what do you do when you to be able to relax?
I haven't been able to do that.
You got to get to it, man. All work and no play makes Rico Elmore a dull guy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm dull, but it sure is hell to pay sometimes
true
trying to
story,
keep
I know
up
that.
with it. So,
Yeah.
but no, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting deal. Michael, have you scuba dived?
Never.
No.
Never been a scuba diver.
Wow, what
The water
he's
is so
boring
peaceful.
too.
The water is so peaceful for me, and I've always been a water baby. So I just enjoy it in there, and the colors, and the sea life and stuff like that. But it can be a little overwhelming if you're down like 90 feet and you look up and so far away from the surface.
Somewhat of a panic attack, if you will, right?
Don't think about it. You're all right. You're breathing. Just
Right.
relax. So.
Exactly. Yeah, no, but no, I think I'd be all right with it. It's something I need to try. The other thing I didn't think I needed to try, like a bunch of friends went skiing.
Oh, yeah.
This over New Year's.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no.
I'm not the gravity sports. I'm cool. Skydiving, skiing, no, anything where I can't control that speed. I'm all right.
Right. I'm thinking, you see how big this is?
Exactly.
You know how bad this hurts when this hits? So it hits hard.
Yeah,
It hits
certainly.
very hard. So, but no, it's. So I hear I heard rumor that Denver may be for sale.
Denver will be bought. There's a couple of companies. The Broncos are up for sale, and actually, I was just talking with Brent about this last. I'm trying to remind myself of the conversation. I think around March is when the sale will happen.
I think Manning's a big
Peyton Manning's
part of it,
involved.
right?
Yeah, he's involved with actually a couple of groups that are looking to purchase a team. Yeah, he's looking for that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was reported even when he left the game that there were a number of organizations that were after him. I mean, I think Cleveland wanted him to come run the program. It was a report he had some interest here as far as being a part of the staff, not ownership. But for a while, the Manning family has been looking forward to getting more involved than just being part of like office staff. You know what I mean? They're looking
sure.
at ownership.
Yeah.
And Archie has really been pushing it in some capacity. There hasn't really been a lot of opportunities until now, but yeah, they were looking for Eli and Peyton and that Manning group were looking to become part owners, to be involved in that.
So, how many billion?
I would say the Denver Broncos are probably worth anywhere from $1.5 to $2.5 billion.
Instantly becomes worth more probably with him involved.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, he's a character.
Oh, he is.
He's a character. He is such a practical joker,
Mm-hmm.
which somebody that's that serious and somebody that's that good. One year we were out. They were at camp at Terre Haute, as they were for many years. They were at camp at Terre Haute, and the police were over by the dorm, and they end up coming back, and the videographer guy that would video all of the practices, he needed to get back to Indy, put it in the machine, flip it out, and bring it back for the morning session. At dinner, he was in there eating or wrapping up things, whatever. They took cellophane and wrapped his Tahoe up with it on the 50-yard line. And it was him and Jeff Saturday that did it. Okay. Yeah. And this dude was pissed.
Well,
I mean, beyond belief pissed, right? And
It's a lot of cellophane.
so Jeff, it was probably like shrink wrap or whatever, but
Something
same
with this
thing.
point, yeah. They have plenty of plastic wrap in those situations.
So Jeff and Peyton are out on the field with this, right? In the Terre Haute police officer, because this guy had reported his car stolen. The Terre Haute police officer and the Indiana State police officer, in the campus police officer, were out there like, "Hey Jeff, I really like you." And this videographer's pissed. He's like, "Why are you even speaking to him? Clearly, he's the one that did this." So. Yeah, they went in his dorm room, stole his keys, took his car. I mean, it's just.
We had to do something to lighten up the load. I remember many pranks back in the day when we do with other people, and of course, one of the more infamous ones, we had a tight end, and I'll keep his name private. We had a tight end that refused to sing, and I was a captain at the time, and it really wasn't hazing. But we had two options. You could either sing at a mill, or your group could design your haircut to start the camp. Your position group.
Say that again.
Well, okay,
now.
so you had a deal. There was two things that you had to do at training camp when you were a rookie. You either have to sing a full song uninterrupted at the meal, or your position group would decide on a haircut for you. Okay.
All right.
And it'll grow back, because back then we used to go to camp for a while, so we had time to grow back. So we had a rookie tight end who refused to do both. And, he was kind of walking around with his chest stuck out. "I ain't got to do nothing, man. Anybody cut my hair. I don't want to sing." And so he kind of got the coach on the side, "Hey, don't haze the guys. Don't do anything." And I was just like, "Look, I'm I'm not an enforcer. I've got other guys who enforce
Right.
my will. I
Right.
said, but you're going to do it because everyone else had to do it. And
Right.
this is the way you pay. You pay respect to the people that came before you, and you earn your place in the team. So I decided one night that we were coming up on a break, and he still hadn't sung or he wouldn't get his hair cut. It was the first break in camp. So I sent out an order to my henchmen to get a hold of his Range Rover and take the tires off. So they took the tires off of the Range Rover, put it on cinder blocks the day before we were supposed to have a break, and we hit his tires. So you've been around camp, you saw how the masses just when you have a break. So we break practice, and everybody gets reared up.
The
get
media,
going.
everybody's
Just
there.
boom.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes out, and his Range Rover is on cinder blocks. And he's just hot, yelling, "What the heck?" and all this stuff. And I'm slowly getting my truck and drive back to Oakland. Got a phone call the next day. Coach was like, "Lincoln, did you do something to what's the name's the Range Rover?" I said, "Coach, I did nothing. I don't know what you're talking about." He was like, "Well, could you please just tell me where his tires are?" "Oh yeah, I know where that is." So, yeah, we had plenty of pranks like that, and plenty of pranks on the other guys back in the day. Fun times.
Tony Stewart, he of course is a very close friend. Him and Slugger Labby were having it out, it definitely turned bad for Tony when
Really?
When he would take an aerosol can and flame the back of your legs
Oh wow.
and burn the hair right off of these guys' legs, right? Jacking
Right.
with them. So Slugger gets a road flare from one of his semi-drivers, ties it to a stick, road flare.
Right. Yeah.
Ties it to a stick, sparks it, it goes over. Tony's in the car. They're out practicing.
Whoa.
They're running
Yeah.
tests.
Yeah.
Tony's in the car, buckled up,
Uh-huh.
helmet on, race suit, and he puts that flare in there and grabs a hold of the window net where he can't get it open.
Jeez.
And he's in there screaming,
Wow.
and Greg Zipadelli, which is Tony's crew chief, Zippy's like looks at Slugger. He's like, "Keep going."
Yeah.
Keep
Really?
going. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
all right, we'll be back in just a minute.
This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Dream Giveaway. Dream Giveaway has been giving away high-end American muscle cars to raise money for charity since 2007. Dream Giveaway is known for giving away classic and new muscle and paying the federal taxes so the winners don't have to. For $25, you can jump in the game, and part of that goes to charity. You'll have a chance at winning some of the coolest cars on the planet. Check it out at dreamgiveaway.com.
All right, and we're back. So, so anyhow, the practical jokes and the good times that are had by many. I mean, it's I could only imagine in the league. You got especially the free time that you have.
Big kids
Kind
with
of
money.
surround,
Yep.
big kids with money, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Some of the practical jokes we used to play on each other back in camp were synonymous. I recently wrote a book, and one of my good friends is Steve Wisniewski, who's a fellow guard and teammate. And when Jeff Hostetler played with the team, we had guys like Kevin Gogan and
How
stuff
about that
like
mustache Hostetler? You
that. No, how about that? Yeah. We were
We'll
talking
have to put a
about this.
picture of that up, by the way.
Steve was telling a story in the book about how they used to play a prank. There was one time where they drilled a hole between their rooms because they were joining rooms, and they released a bunch of mice into the other rooms. And then so the payback from the other guys were they released a ton of crickets in the other room. So it went back and forth. We used to wedge guys' doors shut to where they couldn't get out. Used to, of course, one of the easy ones that everyone did is either you tape up all their pads in a big cellophane ball so they can't get to practice or they're late for practice, stuff like that, or hide their cleats and stuff like that. I mean, things like that. Fun times.
Yeah. They I used to travel pretty extensively with the Lucas family and do the NHRA tour with them many years ago when Morgan raced, and one of the guys that was on the team was a Cajun, right? Roy, and he sees this alligator that's in like a drainage ditch in Gainesville, Florida, the Gator Nationals. Well, we would all go out and get all ramped up, the night before that we clearly probably shouldn't have been, but we go out and have a good time. Well, we got the keys to one of the other guys' rooms and Vanetti's room, and he took that gator and put it underneath the comforter. And Vanetti comes in, and he is nothing short of hammered up. And when he comes in there, they're like, he's trying to get his bearings, and of course everybody's watching out through the window, and you see this thing move under the comforter, and he's like, you see him look over like he thought he saw something move. And he's like, oh, whatever. And then he saw it move again and flips the cover back. Roy didn't tape this thing's mouth or anything.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah. He didn't tape his mouth. Vanetti's on the other bed, standing. Oh, he was all kinds of upset.
That's
a
little far for me.
Those guys are a bit to the extreme with their programs, but
that's funny.
But no, it's something else. So Mark Davis ownership. I met him the other night with you. Great guy.
Yeah,
great
really
guy.
is.
Very personable.
Very personable. A lot different than his father was, but very personable. And he is a good guy. And one of the things I respect most about Mark is that when he first took over the team, he announced in a press conference. Very very first conference. I'm not my father. I don't know football like my father did, and so I'm going to hire or try to surround myself with people. He wants the program to be as good as it can be. We had our fair share of turmoil this season. Obviously, it's no secret to anyone, but where he is, and he appreciates alumni. So, when you think about as far as ownership goes, when you own a recognizable icon like the Raiders. You can only imagine all the things that might besiege you, both mentally and physically, as well as just the pressure of putting a viable product out there.
So, how many owners are there of the Raiders? I know every team. I mean, maybe with the exception of a few, are all.
Well, I don't know the exact number. I know Mark owns the controlling interest, which is 51%.
Sure.
So the other 49% has been spread out, and I know people who own like a 0.5% or 1/4% and stuff like that, but
which is a lot.
Yeah, which is a lot. But the majority ownership belongs to the Davis family.
Yeah. And did I understand right that he bought the WNBA team?
Aces,
there?
Yeah. Las Vegas is really coming into its own with sports.
Did he build it? Is he building a new arena? Is that what I saw?
No. He's building. He's actually building. What is it? It's almost like a new facility to empower women to be more in the sports industry.
Really?
Yeah. The diversity that he's trying to create. He wants more women executives. He wants women coaches. He wants that. So he really wants to pick up that diversity, dealing with the WNBA and how they're trying to get more women involved in the sports.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It is. He's
Where
really
did that come from?
Not really sure. to be honest with you.
That's not Al.
No, it's not Al. It's not Al. But Al did empower. I mean, Amy Trask used to be the CEO, of the Raiders, and I think she was one of the first executives. But when he took over the Aces and got a part of the WNBA, he was really avid about wanting to pick up the popularity, increase the popularity, and he had a good team. The Aces were a good team. I don't know where they finished this past NBA season, but I know that they had won a championship recently, and just the overall popularity. Sports popularity is picking up in Vegas. He loves going to the Golden Knights. He's got a suite there. And I don't know if he's
What's the
involved
goal? Is that the
hockey team? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They're pretty amazing.
Yeah,
right?
They
okay.
went all the way to the finals. Their first season being extended. So, and sports is picking up. It won't be long before there's an NBA team and a Major League Baseball team there, as well as professional soccer. Will be in Vegas real soon.
I could fully imagine. Mm-hmm. What is the big arena-looking thing that they are building there? You can see when you're flying in. Almost looks like a ball.
The black building?
Yeah.
That's Allegiant Stadium. That's already built. That's where the Raiders play.
No. This is much smaller than.
They might be trying to build. They're trying to invite a baseball team there, but
it could be.
But the reports, and I don't know if they started on a stadium for that. I know the what they were talking about is they were talking about doing similar to where Allegiant was across the freeway from the Strip, tearing down the old Tropicana and building a baseball stadium there. So I don't.
That'd be pretty wild.
It would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Allegiant Stadium.
It's beautiful.
Pimp.
Well, it is. Look, I
dude, that place is unbelievable.
I've been involved with the Raiders for over a quarter of a century, and this is the first time, and I'm so proud of the organization because they finally got it right. It's theirs. You know what I mean?
But you know what's best? Bob Romanski told me.
Mm-hmm.
Old Bob Romanski.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Romanski told me that they actually had a say in how the equipment room,
yes,
and how the facility was going to be laid out.
Yes. Look, Las Vegas, the committees and all the stuff, the people that put that thing together, rolled out the red carpet. What do you want? And their training facility, their offices, Intermountain Healthcare, is absolutely gorgeous as well. We've got our own studios there. We tape the TV show and the radio shows there. So it's got enough. They got a couple indoor practice facilities, a couple outdoor practice facilities. I mean, it really is. And I think that's why you're going to be inviting a baseball team and a basketball team there, because when you see what happened with professional sports so far, even from the Golden Knights to the Raiders, what's possible if you're ownership, you relocate there. And, of course, it's an entertainment capital. People are going there just to go to the stadiums. It's become a landmark.
Right. Be interesting to see what we do here. I mean, we're still operating in 1984 out off of West 56th Street, which is... They've redone it a lot, but it's kind of like, I don't know how many more lean-tos they can do on it,
Really?
And there was rumor that, why the Postal Service has that big sort facility downtown Indy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a thing of the past, if you will. But it would be interesting to see if they could... I think that's where they want to put it.
Oh, really?
And I think that's where the Ursay girls are interested in making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So and they would have their camp and everything there. They would have hotels there, a hotel there where they would stay when they. When they'd have game days.
Well, when they were putting together Allegiant, they took the liberty. The ones that were directing it and doing it went around to various stadiums. They went to Hard Rock in Miami. They went to Jerry's World in Arlington, and they took bits and pieces from all of those new stadiums. The people who designed or constructed the Minnesota Stadium, the Vikings Stadium, are the ones that created Allegiant. And so,
who was that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Was
I don't
it
know.
Hunt Construction? Or
I can't remember the construction company off the top of my head, but I do know that it's very similar to Minnesota Stadium, the design and the acoustics and everything that's created. But I mean, the Wynn has got a nightclub in there, and on the end zone, there's MGM has got this. A suite that I've never seen the likes of in my life. It's huge. But the great thing is that it's all Raiders. All the art, they don't have to share it with the A's like they did in Oakland when we played in Oakland. It's all the arts, all the lounges, everything is Raiders. You got the Hall of Famers, all that stuff is around there. So it really is a true testament to the organization, and I'm happy for them.
So, question for you. were you with the Raiders? And I can't remember, so that's why I'm asking. When Al decided just to move him.
No, that was before my time.
Okay.
But I remember the story, and of course, ESPN did a big 30-30 when his deal with the NFL. Believe it or not, he was such a pioneer and such an innovator for what his logic was. He wanted to go and make the NFL bigger, make the Raiders big, and in turn make the NFL bigger. When this team got the Colts from Baltimore, it was a big.
You ever see the 30 for 30 on that?
No, I didn't.
Michael, you see the 30 for 30?
Yeah.
So old man Irsay, Bob,
Uh-huh.
they catch him coming back on his plane back to Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
And clearly they've been tracking the tail number.
Really?
And they're like, we understand that you were in Indianapolis.
Okay.
But are you moving our team to Indianapolis? Because of course the state,
Certainly.
the Hoosier Dome was already built.
Right.
We understand you're moving. I'm not moving anything. I wasn't in. And he's hammered.
Really?
Hammered.
Wow.
And they blindside him when he gets off the plane. Like,
wow.
and it goes bad.
Yeah.
It goes way bad.
Yeah.
And I think about the next week they moved.
Yeah. So when the Raiders moved from Oakland to Los Angeles, it was on the promise of everything being bigger. They were supposed to renovate the Coliseum, which because LA promised Al Davis that they were going to put 100,000 in the seats. And of course, when you have that capacity, that's what you want for your team. They get down to the LA Coliseum. They share it with USC football. Well, of course, you still have the Rams in Anaheim, not too far from them. But the stadium was never developed the way that it was promised. It was never renovated. And in order for
And I don't think it ever has been.
no, well, they're actually doing it now. They're renovating
for
it
NASCAR?
for probably, but there's the stadium's finally under bigger renovations, and it's supposed to be something special. But the big thing is, when it comes to hosting a Super Bowl or hosting premier events, it's about the suite levels.
Yep.
Got to get the suites. It's
Yep.
corporate, and that's what the NFL is looking for. So forever, there was the promise that it was going to get done. It didn't get done, and there was actually a time when Al was looking to move it outside of Los Angeles to more to the Inland Empire because they had promised they were going to build him a stadium. Never came to fruition. So then he moved back to Oakland, and the promise was back in Oakland, we are going to renovate the Coliseum in Oakland, and we are going to, even though you're going to have your own spot because it was supposed to be the A's. I played on when the A's, we had to play on their infield. We were the last of the 32 teams to share a stadium, and forever. And so the deal never got done. And I remember talking with Mr. D and him and Jim Otto about their trips to Nevada when Jim was playing, because Al always thought the ideal place for the Raiders would be Las Vegas, Sin City. It just seemed to go hand in hand. But because the NFL was so hung up on the possibility of gambling and everything else,
They got over
stayed away
that
from
quick,
it.
didn't they?
Well, because they became involved.
Right.
So Caesars and MGM and all those guys, they bought in. They're all partners with the NFL now. They've been able to mainstream gambling to where you can do it from your phone.
Oh, hell, right there in the suite.
Exactly.
I was able to, I pushed. But
Right. But I mean,
yesterday,
you got a sports book on your phone.
Yep.
And the only thing is that you don't have access if you're a player, because now they can track it digitally. So if your name is part of the NFL, you can't use the sports book on your own team. You see what I'm saying? So they've been able to regulate
Pete
that.
Rose would definitely be in the Hall of Fame by now. Ben.
True story. You're absolutely right. So the whole thing about the desire of Nevada was basically Mark Davis's dream, passion to fulfill the dream that he thought his father had, and get the team to Las Vegas.
He got it done pretty handily.
Well, look, there was a lot of.
I'm sure there
throwback,
was a lot that went into it, but I mean, it just kind of was like, here we are.
Well, you know what? For what it's worth, Oakland is one of those cities that's actually owned by the state, and what I mean by that is they've always been the stepbrother to San Francisco. San Francisco has its own little generator.
Yeah.
Oakland, you had to do all kinds of things to get permission to do, and you had to go through the state to make it happen. So even city leadership was lacking. But when they couldn't get the support from the city of Oakland, or the state, I should say, to build a new stadium, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to help out and chip in their part. Mark found a place that was going. He had rumors of going to Los Angeles, but that was taken over quickly by the Kroenke family. And when they went and built SoFi, they did it with all their own money. Kroenke Kroenke didn't get any help from the city or the state or anything like that. He did it was all his own money. He developed that whole area, and that's why SoFi has picked up so much the way it was. That was all his money he put in.
Gotcha.
And then inviting the Chargers and giving them a discounted lease to be a part of it was all part of the plan. Now you've got 2 teams in Los Angeles. Los Angeles went out the window for the Raiders. There were only a couple other places, and then Vegas or Nevada collectively came in and said, look, we want an NFL team. We're going to push. This is what we're offering you. And they made it happen.
It's pretty amazing. It is home for them.
Yeah.
I always thought that it would be a great spot for them. And, it's one of those things, in Baltimore, definitely Baltimore was a football town.
Right.
As Cleveland was.
Right.
And, or is still. But it was interesting because, well, I guess what was interesting on the whole thing was we went to Ray's last game, Ray Lewis's last regular season game, played the Colts. And anyhow, long and the short of it, the fans in Baltimore are absolutely wild.
Oh, absolutely. It is a great
And
sports
I mean
town.
that whole I can't remember whatever it is. That I'm sitting there looking up and I'm watching the lights move about 10 feet.
Yeah.
Like
Rocket,
up and down. And I'm about one row from being able to give the flyover a high five when he goes by. So I clearly didn't see any real way out of there. When,
True story.
when I was trying to move, but yeah, it was. But yeah, there's some crowds like that, and I think the Colts fans are good. I wouldn't dog them, but I mean, they're not them. They're not those fans.
Well, it's a different. I will say this: from seeing the game yesterday against the Raiders, there was a pretty solid crowd.
Yeah,
so they support them.
Dude, there was a lot of black second
the nation. Yeah, the nation travels well. The Raider Nation travels well.
I mean, Michael and I were looking, and I mean, it was like that 400 all the way up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was dark.
Well, the nation has always been a fan group that travels well. But what I like and what I respect about the Colts fan is, one, they know the game. They understand the game, and they enjoy themselves. And you can see people on the camera and the Videotron and stuff like that, and people even going to the game. They're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Now, granted, because you're limited, you see the fanfare they have for Pacers basketball. You see the fanfare when Indiana was viable, the Hoosiers basketball. You see how there was one guy who was even trying to change the TV to the bar last night when we were watching the Chargers Bronco game. He wanted to change it to Indiana Penn State basketball game. I said, look, we were here first. And he kind of looked around, then he turned around and still made the guy change it. But it was I understand it. It's different from place to place.
Sure.
And you look at Baltimore, you look at the history they had. And when the Colts came over, it was after a long NFL history, successful history in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So they lost their team, and even that's how Cleveland felt when they got the Ravens. Baltimore got the Ravens because really quickly they started winning.
Yeah.
And Cleveland has been hungry for a championship for a while. So you look at places like Detroit, Cleveland, they're just passionate. I hold Indianapolis the same way. And one thing I will say, because everything has been set in place, we talked about the relocation of teams and where Los Angeles, a place is. Indianapolis is safe. For a while, the NFL wanted to hold over the head. You give them a new stadium, or you're moving to Los Angeles, or losing the team to Los Angeles. It's not the case anymore. So then Los Angeles is full. The next place, and really the National Football League collectively, with its 32 teams, in my opinion, the states are built out.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
They're not going to add any more teams because they've got uniformity with the leagues and the divisions and stuff like that, 32 teams. They're not going to add more teams. But what I will say, what's the next step is that you will have a team that moves to London. And it's most likely going to be Jacksonville because Khan owns the soccer team over there, Premier League soccer team. So it'll probably be the Jacksonville Jaguars that move over to London.
Really?
London is the next spot.
So what's that flight? 7 hours?
No. To England from the States, it's like 4 hours, right? From New York or whatever it is. Depends on where you're from.
Like that,
I would have to look up.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we came here, a couple years ago, when we played the Colts, we ended up flying to, because we had to play in London. We ended up flying from here over to London.
Okay.
And I wanted to say it was like 8 hours or something like that. But, the
How
NFL.
was the game when it was over there?
Pretty good. It was a really good crowd. And, of course, because London is an expensive city,
Yeah.
NFL looks at an opportunity to make more money.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you had collective fans from all over the country or all around the world who were big NFL fans. Germany, NFL, American football is really big in Germany. It's picking up. And so it's one of those.
So here we are getting soccer popularity up, which was their football, if you will. And now American football's going that direction, which is kind of interesting. Never thought you'd see it. But,
well, they tried it with the World League. They tried it with a couple of spring leagues. The NFL doesn't really have a true amateur setting. So other than college football, you don't have like a AAA league or a G League in basketball and stuff like that. NFL has been trying to create one. Now you have the USFL that's going to start next spring that has 8 teams, and that was just another form of professional football just in spring to take advantage of it. But learning from history and learning what happened in previous leagues, the NFL is definitely going to right the ship. Look, people know you can't compete with the NFL.
Right.
So don't try it. Don't try to come in with another league like the XFL or do something, and it's not going to work. You're going to fail miserably.
Failure.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but the next step is to go to London. And I remember when I first started working with the NFL Network, I had a conversation with then Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, and we were talking about the possibility of going over to Europe because international games have been played. We played in Barcelona. I remember we played one time in Japan, stuff like that. International games were starting to be played, and the NFL recognized very early that its next thing was to go international, like basketball has.
Sure.
But unfortunately, the thing is the travel. Imagine flying from San Francisco to London. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the way they figured it out, or the way they've done is they give those teams that play in the London games buys.
Yeah.
Now it was interrupted due to COVID, and I think they did less games there. But next year there's supposed to be either 5 or 6 games in London.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're going to pick up. It's the new frontier.
Wow.
It really is.
What kind of person is Goodell?
Roger Goodell? He's one of those guys that really tries hard to be liked. he's a good guy.
Position.
It is a very difficult position because you're answering to 32
billionaires.
Exactly right.
Billionaires.
And having to control. But the one thing they love about him is that he's made them money. He's turned over a significant profit during his tenure, and has transcended the game. Not only with picking up the way that it's dealing with gambling, you think about it, but you talk about the TV contracts, the new media contract that came out. A lot of people didn't read the details of that, and they were upset this season because a lot of their games weren't shown. You had to go to the streaming networks, but that's the way that TV is evolving. You know what I mean?
Seems that way.
You got to get in line. You got to be a part of Amazon or the NFL Network, and Peacock. Yeah. All the streaming networks because people are cutting the cord of cable.
Yeah.
So he was part of the first cable contract with DirecTV that gave the NFL Games Pass.
Yep.
He created that. That did what it did for the time, but because cable has become more and more expensive, and because people are cutting the cable, getting away from it, DirecTV and stuff like that, you had to find a new venue to put your product
sure.
on. And that's why the new media package that they created came out the way that it did. Well, this has been fun, Rico, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
man.
the last time we were sitting here, this wasn't even operational.
No, you were telling me what was going into play, and I was looking forward to it. Man. But, what I would honestly say is that I really appreciate the hospitality. Every time I come to your city, what you show me love and appreciation, you take care of me and my people, and I really do appreciate that.
Well, you're a longtime friend, and I don't see that changing.
I agree. I
appreciate it.
My friend. I got you.
Thanks for being with us here on The Skinny. This episode has been brought to you by Toyota, Rhino Classifieds, Dream Giveaway, and General Tire. For the latest in sunglasses, optical frames, accessories, and apparel, be sure to check out Fatheadz.com. That's Fatheadz with a Z. Production facilities provided by Fatheadz Eyewear Studios. All rights reserved.